This morning, sun kissed my face. Grab my coffee, life's a fast-paced race. I know. I put on my shoes, but no time to waste. Headed out the door, no stress, no stress. I'm feeling good now. For my groove is sick, a brand new day just let begin. Easy Monday motivation. Who knows what to do? Feels good. No time to slow it down. We keep moving to the sound. Easy Monday motivation. In the rhythm, it's deep in my soul. Fantastic energy got me in control. Oh, hear the beat drop, you know we won't stop. Trust the process, climb me to the top, the top. We're in the air, so I need some more. Each step forward, easy Monday motivation. That's all one joy, right? Feel the vibe. Easy Monday motivation. We are all about you. So feels good when it feels good. No time to slow it down. We keep moving to the sound. Easy Monday motivation.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Easy Monday Motivation. You already know what it is. It is your guy E on this Monday, always pumped. It's the last Monday of the month, but I am very excited to be able to introduce the crew that make it do what it do before we get into the holiday fun, because I'm looking forward to Halloween. What is up, Johnny, my liege? What is up, CT, my guy? How you guys doing today?
What's going on, y'all? Good to see y'all.
What's up? What's up?
As y'all can see, we are really pumped. It is very, 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 very excited energy in the house today because we're coming to you live. And whenever we have opportunity to come to you live, you know, this is it. This is what makes it happen, right? Because like it's that real conversation with people. I miss you guys. We got to check in. I need to know how your week has been. CT, I know me and my man Cam got you. That was wonderful. I want to hear about that. Johnny, I want to hear about your week. I know you've been traveling. You had Women's Day event that you got to do, hang out with you got to be the Big Apple Snapples. I see y'all out there. And then, I got some fun stuff I got some stories to tell. I got some stuff that's happened to me too. But I want to check in with everybody. I'm going to come to you first, Johnny, my liege. I want to hear about what's been going on with you. Tell us about Women's Day and about the Trip Assist.
Y'all, I had such a good time. So I traveled to New York for a women's conference, which was super dope. And I was sitting next to someone we all know. I won't mention her name because I didn't get her permission, but we all know her. I was sitting next to her and I was like, look, I'm letting you know now that there's nothing that makes me more emotional than being in a room full of smart, inspiring women. I'm gonna be crying all day. And sure enough, every time she looked at me, it was tears. She's like, are you serious? Can you get it together? I just couldn't help myself. I was so inspired and I felt so much gratitude. It was too much. And then I got to spend some time with my sister. So we were
What?
Yeah, and we thought we were famous, y'all. We really did. We were walking around.
Y'all are.
Y'all look cute. We're like, thank you. And she kept saying, Alicia kept saying, I think they think we're famous. And I said, I think they do. They pretty much think we're famous. So we had a ball. We had such a good time. We laughed, we shopped, we ate. We had a really good time. It was amazing. Such good girls.
Awesome. What was your favorite?
What
was your favorite part?
Oh, just being with my sister. You know what? Oh, you know what's always my favorite part? Is getting dressed. Like when you're in the hotel room or like you're getting prepped for the day or whatever. And that's to me where is all the fun starts. And so that was the funnest part to me, and just watching something random on TV and laughing and talking about it. And so that was the best part for me.
Okay. That sounds amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and say the sisters was slaying out there in the Big Apple. Cause hey, like I saw those photos, I was like, oh, another event that Johnny didn't invite us to. CP.
And he said that to me, y'all, behind the scenes, as soon as I logged on too.
Well, I mean, I'm just messing with her, but hey, that sounds beautiful. I'm glad that you guys have fun. I know that conference always draws a wonderful crowd of people, and there's a lot of good information. Definitely always good to go be around motivated people who are trying to make change in the world. So thank you, Johnny, my lead. CT, my guy, what's been going on, man? What's up with you?
So, man, what's going on, EMM family? Johnny, man, I wish I was in NYC with you, girl. I know y'all had a good time. But the rest of us were, just, peons out here in the regular.
Please, you had stuff going on too, so don't front.
Oh, you're right. So, I want to shout out the Stubbs, Tiffany and Lawrence Stubbs in particular. They hosted an event at their home in honor of your boy. And so a host of folks came through, had some beverages, had some food, had good fellowship. And listen, EMM family, Eric and Cameron, yes, I'm using their first government names, are sneaky. Y'all, they were sneaky. I walked up into this event, and on the TV screen is a video. Now, who could have made a video? Who could have gotten them the pictures, the videos of the podcast, and in a production that had Cam's production name at the end, if you stayed long enough? I want to shout them out. That was mad love, y'all. That was very unexpected, but really appreciate you all leaning in. I know y'all got secrets behind the scenes, got surprises going on, but that was dope. So I really, really, really appreciate it. And yeah, reminding us there was that it gave it away. You right, babe. There couldn't have been anybody else. It couldn't have been anybody else because nobody else has Lil Rob pictures, but these fools. So nah, it was solid. And then, hey, y'all, I gotta tell y'all something. So on Sunday, one of the most epic things in the world happened. It hasn't happened in a long time, but I gotta tell you about it.
What?
I took a 20-minute nap on Sunday.
What?
It was life-giving. Yep.
How'd you feel?
Well, the problem was this. I'm sorry. This is a family show. Our dog barked and shocked me out of a good slumber. Technically, it was exactly when the alarm should have gone off, so I got up because I had some work to do. But man, I got up looking all disheveled. My son walked in the house. He was like, "You okay, Pops?" I'm like, "I'm fine." I was knocked all the way out. I'm telling you, naps are life-giving, and if not for that, that blessing of a dog. So no, it's good, y'all. It's solid. It was solid. Glad to be with y'all again. Good to be here.
Oh my gosh, that's
funny.
That is funny. So, shout out to Mel for the little Rob. Listen, still holding true. If you go to a beautiful little city in Florida, you can go and do a "Where is Little Rob?" search. There's stickers that I literally printed off 100 stickers and slapped them on different various things across the city as I was there. So I'm gonna go back, and eventually I'm gonna make new ones, and we're gonna keep doing this until when we get enough followers where everybody be like, hey, we actually travel to Destin now to go find the Little Rob for stickers of CT. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I have not
wait.
About that.
I'm so pumped about that. Oh, that makes me so excited. All right, so me, so everything's been pretty good. I got a chance to speak to some students at Denison University. That's always fun to be able to kind of give back. TT, remember me and you've done that a couple of times, so it was a little fun it's always fun to do. It was a little different to do it without you as I'm winding down my CT available days and moments to work with him or partner with him in certain capacities, but to ramp up in other capacities. It was a little, yeah. I was like,
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm good. I'm good, but I'm like, but I'm not good. Like I'm good. I'm good, but I'm not good. Where is he? I'm like, because I was like, was he on the invite? I could have swore he's on the invite. Man wasn't even on the invite, right? Man wasn't on the invite at all. I'm like, but he was invited though, right? Like just proxy invite.
He just was not available.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
Anyway, yeah. I had a lot of fun this week. Definitely stepped out of my comfort zone on a few things. I'm gonna give a shout out to Amanda, who was at the nail salon. I was there today. Me and babe was getting our feet done. I was taking her to get her feet done, and she was taking me to get my feet done. So it kind of neutralizes the whole situation, because it's like, why don't you just get your feet done?
Pay for yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But no, I'm just playing. No, it didn't happen.
I hear that. He out here getting his feet done, y'all. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So men
take care of themselves too. I love it. I love it.
Hey, listen, I go quarterly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want the bottom of my bed looking like I got an animal living in my house. You know what I'm saying? You ever look at the bottom of certain people's beds? You're like, why do your sheets look like it? Was because your feet is sharp. Okay. I have literally gone to a nail salon, and the lady looked at me and was like, "So what you want, new feet?" I was like, yes. So you know what I'm saying? I respect the whole thing, but shout out to Amanda, whose birthday is this Sunday. We want to she's a new subscriber listening. So want to take time to do that. The fish tank right now is doing real good. I will say I kind of been playing around nursing. I got to do a little bit of different food today. I woke up today and made mafa, which is a West African dish that I never made before. Mafe. There it is. You the one that messed me up. You the one that messed me up. All right, it's mafe, not mafa, because it's like I can't feel my face when I went. Okay, I got it.
I love it. Yeah. I love it.
All right, so that's how I remember it. I can't feel my face. Okay, because my little sister is on and she's listening. I hate your face. Okay, now I'm just gonna go ahead and keep going. But
true.
I love her to death. But yeah, I got to try some new dishes, got to play around some food. So as always, I'm excited. And I did get to do a private dinner for a couple. We did Mediterranean food. So I'm in a swing of it. I've been bouncing around the globe, making different types of food, at home, and looking forward to an ice cream social that's coming up where I'm gonna get to play around. I'm gonna make some pumpkin peanut butter ice cream, and some other fun combinations. I think this may be the week of the 6th, of November. So I'll see if I see the EMM crew sometime around there, so we can try to do something. We'll see what happens. Sometimes we come together, sometimes we don't. But cheers to that. And cheers with that, I am so excited for today's conversation, as we have been really talking about rights and discussing what it means to exercise. Do you actually acknowledge and know what they are, right? And then we looked at some impacting rights. Today, CT, I know you want to finish up our series going strong, and I'm gonna pass it over to you so we can kick it off.
No, I'm so grateful that we're, I don't know about y'all, but I really feel like this was a substantive month that carried through from the first episode all the way down to where we are today, right? And so when we start thinking about today's discussion, today's conversation, I really would love those in the chat to jump in, because we are tomorrow a week away from a right that we all have. And Johnny and her Johnny's Gems has been amplifying it and making sure that we had context for this thing that everybody has the right to do. And today we want to have a considerable conversation, a substantive dialogue around what it means to exercise those rights. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're just going to be right on voting in the entire part of the conversation, but I do want to make sure we amplify some of that. But I would love for when you, Johnny, let me come to you first. Like when we start thinking about just on the basics around what it means to you to exercise your rights, and throw it in the chat if you're out there and you want to help us with this conversation, Johnny. What does it mean for you to exercise your rights? What's that mean for you?
Oh man, that's so good. I wish I could give like a clear, straight answer just right out the gate. But honestly, this whole month has made me rethink or think deeper about the idea of what it means to have rights, what it means to be right and wrong.
Yeah.
It had me really thinking about it. So when I think about exercising my rights, what it means to me is just being able to have a voice
Yeah.
and have a say and voice my opinion and be strong in my beliefs and in my values, and not to say that you have to see things exactly the way that I see them or view
Yep.
them exactly the way that I do them, but I still have a right to voice my opinion, or to share my voice, I should say. Yeah, but this whole month has got me thinking about this idea of what's right, what's wrong, what does rights truly mean. So I appreciate us having this conversation. But my voice and my opinion is so important to me. And I realize that more and more, the older I get, how important it is that I keep saying it, but that I'm heard. That's all.
Mm,
You don't have to agree with me, but I just need to know that you hear me. Maybe it's literally like you're not talking over me. You're actually listening to me. That's one reason why I appreciate the two of you so much. Because I've always told you this, that I feel like you are such a great listener, and I appreciate that so much. So just letting my voice be heard. That's what it means to me when I say exercising my rights and having a say.
Yeah.
but what do you?
Yeah.
So what does that look like though, practically? Like sometimes I
Yeah.
hear people say, I hear people say, "Hear my voice be heard," and to be heard. But what does that actually mean practically? Like I almost want to get real tactical in our
Oh,
conversations. Like,
good.
what does that mean, like to you that
Okay.
you've been heard, Johnny?
Well, it depends on the situation.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So we're in a political season. So it could just be me being able to go to the voting polls and cast my ballot. Okay.
Mm,
It could
okay.
be us in a conversation, and I know that you are paying attention to me because I'm a talker, which my sister has so openly shared on this pod, okay, in comments and in an episode, that
Uh-huh.
I'm a talker. So I need to know that you're actually listening to me, and you hear what I have to say, and you value my opinion. So I think it all depends on what that situation looks like. Maybe it's in with my husband and we're making a decision on the kids or the house or whatever, and he doesn't just, oh no, no, we're going to do this. Like,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute. Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do what I say, but I am a person in this relationship too, so my opinion has to be heard. So I think it all depends on what that situation looks like. I don't want to be discounted or
Mhm.
or not valued. CT, I think that's what I mean when you say practically. So I think it all depends, but I just want to know I matter.
That's good. Like
Yeah,
as the AOC might say, you have the right to be wrong. So that's I
yeah,
love that. Let's hear what you might have to say around what it means to you to exercise your rights, and just like Johnny, maybe give us something real practical too, right? For us to be able to give some texture to the discussion.
yeah,
So I'm somebody who likes to grill
Mhm.
and barbecue food. And right now, I do not have the right to do that on the patio of the place that I am staying based on my lease terms, even though I have meticulously read through them and have found different cooking devices that have met all of the standards that would not infer any of the risk that come with combustible open flame grilling.
Mm,
But yet and still, I cannot have my electric smoker outside. I can't have my electric fire table outside. I can't have my electric heater outside because I do not have the right to do so. But if I was to exercise my right, one thing that I could do is to petition the property management company for specific exceptions when it comes to this particular policy that would allow for me to have safe cooking devices outdoors on my patio. So I could take a stance and petition, meet with other residents, get enough people to say that we are okay with this because we understand the risk that you're trying to mitigate. And we know that we will be responsible enough to follow the rules within this confined space of electric smoking or electric things that have additional safety features. So that is something you can do. That's not even like, you know what I'm saying? Like a voting thing. That is me saying, I want to be able to exercise my right to petition. I want to be able to exercise my right to change things. I want to be able to exercise my right, to Johnny's point, to be heard and say that while you may feel some way about it, I feel some other way, and that I, while respecting you, can still find a safe space for me to be able to exercise my right to cook or smoke my food the way I want to. That's a ground level thing that I'm thinking of as an example.
So let's talk about it, right? So there it is, right? So I cannot not hear right. Anyway, so you've decided then to give up or to surrender a right you could exercise by choosing a place who took your rights away.
That is true.
Why would you do that? If you love grilling the way that you love grilling, why would you purposely put yourself in a situation where the right thing for you is to grill, but you chose some place that didn't allow you to have your rights to be exercised the way you wanted your rights to be exercised? Talk to me, E.
Well, unfortunately, when I first moved in and I did ask specifically about this particular situation, I was told that there was no problem because it was within the measure of the rule. And then I think the property management changed, not the property owner or the property management company. The property manager changed and then began to question why I had a wrapped up and closed little box on my patio, probably wondering what it was, may have looked at it, saw that it was an electric smoker and said it was also not allowed to be on the property. I then protested to say, well, I already had approval from the previous property manager and it falls within the guidelines. He went back and made it seem like he did some investigation and then came back and told me that I still couldn't have it. It still would be considered an open flame item, even though there's no combustible open flames or gas or any of the combustible components that he was worried about. I happen to actually know the president of the entire company, and if I really wanted to be that guy, I could be like, oh well, yeah, your property management company is flip-floppy on these rules. I know that and he's already eaten my food. Actually, he's eaten my brisket and was like, I would buy those from you. And if I told him, well, I'm not allowed to smoke them on your patios, he'd like, look at that rule. So, I mean, I definitely understand your point, CT, but it also gave me opportunity to let my uncle use my smoker. And then that gave me a chance to go over there and kick it with him. So, I had to choose my battles, right? But I know I had the right to fight.
Every time to party. So I think the thing that becomes important, and I don't know, Johnny, I don't know if you wanted to amplify something off of that. Go ahead.
I do. Can you tell?
Yeah. I saw you said it here, like,
I was like, I like that. and can I just say that I love that he knows the president of the company. I was like, of course you do. I love that about him though. But sometimes what it depends on what you're willing to lose, what you're willing to give up. It kind of made me think about the whole earlier in the month when we were talking about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and a lot of times they are put on these opposing sides. But I always remember how my mom and dad used to tell me how Martin Luther King was looked at as such a troublemaker. And so a lot of people didn't get on the whole Martin Luther King bandwagon and I'm going to march for our rights, even though they felt it was right, because they felt like, oh, nope, it's too much to lose. And I'm not getting myself caught up in all of that. Right. So I think sometimes you're willing to forgo your rights or let all those things go and your rights and your values because you're like, I got too much to lose in order to, because I thought he was going to go somewhere like that. Like, well, I don't want to get fined and I don't want to get kicked out of my apartment or out of my place of my home just because I want to smoke some meat. So I don't know. It got me thinking about that too. So sometimes
I mean,
what are you willing to lose? What are you willing to give up for it?
So Johnny, I will safely say that my rebellious, the Scotch with E, Agent of Chaos, literally was like, oh no, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my smoker in the house Friday. Well, no, Sunday night until like that Sunday morning, because I know like the property management team and none of them people would be here. So yeah, like that first month, I was like, oh no, I ain't messing with y'all. Yeah, that's right. I ain't gonna have no problem. I pull the smoker in. They leave for the night. Pull the smoker out. Smoke my little stuff. Clean it up. Pull it back in. I was still smoking. I was like, but you know what though? Nah, I mean, you know, it's not really worth it. It's a battle that I would, you know what I'm saying? It's not really worth it. So let me go ahead and make this move. And I got 2 electric smokers. So, I mean, I could have went hard. I could have been just like really giving them a hard time, but it really wasn't worth it. Also, how often was I going to use it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I understand though, like in those moments, if we're thinking about the idea of being able to solidify what you believe in, you do have the right to petition, to gather people, to create legislation, to create the things that people would vote on. Because when we think about what we're about to do, this being election season, every time a vote comes up, whether it be local, federal, state, anything, it is about something somebody wanted to push forward, that they wanted to have the right to do, or they wanted to make right in some way. So when I think about exercising your rights, actually, I think about it from the ground level of being able to petition something you don't agree with, all the way up to being able to cast a vote to something that you may or cast a vote against something that you don't agree with.
That's good. So let me give y'all a definition, a title, something we can work from, and I want to come back to something Mike threw in the chat in just a second. But and I also want to just simply say, as we've built each week, we started with the idea that understanding what your rights were did have this human component to it, that we started with humanity and then everything else built out of that. And then we got context for it with regard to the significance of what happened historically, that somebody, thank you, E, had to fight for the rights that you had, as we talked about in week 1. And then we had Chris and Krista, shout out to you guys. Thanks for coming to us last week. That gave us a generational perspective. But let me give you something that my good friend Chat GPT had to say relative to exercising your rights. Here's what it had to say. It said, exercising your rights means actively using or asserting the freedoms, privileges, and entitlements granted to you, either by law, by society, or within your organization. It involves understanding what rights you have and confidently acting upon them, whether it's the right to speak freely, vote, pursue education, advocate for fair treatment at work, or any other aspect of personal autonomy or protection. It goes on to say, when you exercise your rights, you're choosing to take action rather than staying silent or passive. That one caught my attention. I want to come to this. It can mean voicing opinions, making informed decisions, or standing up for yourself and others. Exercising rights often requires knowledge of the responsibilities, hear me now, and boundaries tied to them, as well as a recognition of the rights of others, fostering a balance and promoting justice, equality, and mutual respect for society. There was a couple of threads in there that I think were really, really important for us to pull on. And I almost want to go back to Eric's example of his place. A thing that I heard was the rights that the organization put in place wasn't about one person having the right to do a thing. It was, if a person took that right and they did it wrong, then it would impact everybody else's right. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
So as you think about that in that context, Johnny, I want to come back to you real quick. Like if you're in a place that has the right to do a thing, but it's limiting how you exercise those rights, we keep coming back to I have the right to do a thing. But when I do a thing, it might impact somebody else being able to do a thing, which is why rights, I think, exist in the first place. Help me with this.
This is true. I don't know. So many thoughts in my head. It's so many thoughts in my head. I agree. I mean, yeah, you're right. Right?
Right.
Well, I mean, most rights infringe on other people's rights.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Unpack that a little bit. Unpack that a little bit, E.
Okay.
If I vote or I create legislation that gives me the right to go and smack people, because that's an example I used earlier in this conversation, that I have the right to smack stuff out of people's hands.
I was like, Mama, you and E related. Okay.
You know what? I love your mama. I love you, Mama. If I have the right to, smack people, then I'm literally infringing on people's right to not want to be smacked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have the right to be safe and protected. Well, my right is to smack people.
Yeah.
So which one is it? Like, is my right going to infringe on your rights? Of course it is. If I smack you and your rights to be safe, if I have the right to choose the type of food that I want, and your right is to always serve me green eggs and ham, then you're going to be infringing on my rights every time I go eat with you, because I can't have any choices. So I can see that there becomes a conundrum of what right is, because it typically takes away from someone in some way.
I know.
Some freedom that somebody would say they want. Yeah.
Yeah, which I guess is why we have, and I say I guess, but like, I guess that's why we have voting. That's why we have the right to vote, right? Because ideally, and I'm not going to get into all the specifics of that, but ideally, majority should win.
Well, let me ask you this then, just because I want to play with CT's question.
Okay.
Like, so let's say that the right to vote started when we was 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we were 10 years old, and it came up on the ballot that 10-year-olds wanted to be able to stay up until 7. And the world had more 10-year-olds than they had any other age grade. And they said, we ain't going to bed at 7. We want to go to bed at 11. And they could vote to do that. If there's more of them and we made voting rights at 10, should they have the right to do that?
Are we talking about rights or rules?
These are rights because they voted for that.
Because all rights have rules, right?
I don't know.
Well, yes, rights have to have rules in order to enforce them, right?
I don't think you can have rights without rules. So exercising rights often requires knowledge of the responsibilities and boundaries tied to them, as well as a recognition of the rights of others, fostering a balance that promotes justice, equity, and mutual respect in society. Some of what I think we get lost in is that we want the right to do a particular thing, but it will infringe on somebody else's rights. So you have to set some rules and some boundaries around it, i.e. your place set some rules that said you don't have the right to do this, because if you do it wrong, you're going to burn down our building. And now a whole bunch of people are going to be homeless. Right. And it's going to cost us money. And so there's all of these consequences that comes with you not understanding the societal rules that have been set up that allow you to have access to the rights that you have, in my opinion.
I can see that. If our rights are about the collective greater good, I wonder why the Bill of Rights is considered the best for the collective. Random. I can agree with that too, to be like, so we created some rights at one point that everybody agreed to from one position, but now when we look at who was empowered to make that decision at the time, were those collective rights right for everybody at the time? And then when we look at them now, do they still hold true to the perspective of the people who are upholded to those rights, right? So I can agree with that, man.
And those rights were created for the people, air quotes, not for the government. So there's the rights weren't set up for the system. The rights were set up for the people who had to apply or work within the context of the system.
But without the system,
go ahead.
Yeah, without the system, there's no right. How can the rights be enforced?
So it all has to work together, right?
Yeah.
There that word is again. I cannot. Not looking for validation on my right, but I keep saying right.
Right?
So pull Mel's statement back up here real quick. So if our rights are about the collective greater good, right? So there is a social contract that we have together, right? That if we are actually functioning for our greater good, then the Bill of Rights could be the tool that we leverage and utilize for all of our collective good. But because we misappropriate what our rights are, because I want what's right for me, not necessarily thinking about what it might be right for you in, then it leaves us in a place where collective is removed and good is crossed out. Because how do I know what good is for you? Because good for you might not be the same as good for me. And now we just have chaos. I use that on purpose.
I love it.
Now we
Which is
have
where we are right now.
which is where we are in our society today.
This is exactly where we are right now.
Where
I love
we
it.
are today. So how do we then, thanks Kim, how do we then team and EMM family, how do we get to a place where we really do not position ourselves to get set up and triggered by the societal chaos that's going on, because we just want to just exercise our rights every day. We want to go out and do what we need to do and grill
I
and
think
cook.
we should be triggered.
Okay, talk to me.
And I know I cut you off, but I got fired up. I could literally feel it in my body. I think we should be triggered. I think we should get fired up. We shouldn't say, "Oh, well, it's the rights of others," especially right now. I've been I think I've been open about saying that I believe our democracy is at stake. I think our rights are on the line, and me just being a woman and a woman of color, I think we should get fired up. And sometimes when we get fired up or when we get triggered is when people actually listen. So I think there's a time and a place, and I think now is the time and the place. And sometimes, and when I say triggered, that doesn't mean that you go out and smack people in the face, right? Even though we may want to. Some of us may want to. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. It could mean go voting. It could mean go volunteer. It could mean have a conversation. But you absolutely should be triggered and fired up about the things that you are passionate about. So yeah, I think that's okay to do that if you're doing it in a way that doesn't harm someone. I don't want to cause harm to people. I really don't. But I do feel passionate about that. It's okay to get triggered. I don't think we should stop ourselves, because remember how we told Chris and Krista, make sure you pay attention to what has happened in the past. Know your history, because if not, it will surely repeat itself. And so we have to be very mindful of it. And so, yeah, and some things that are happening right now in our culture, some things when you know your history, it should make you angry. It should push your buttons and make you want to take action. And isn't that what we said? Like exercising our rights is taking action. It should make you want to take action and do something. Yeah. So I don't think we should be fighting that, CT. I don't think we should try to avoid getting triggered.
Okay. E?
I mean, I agree with Johnny. I definitely think that if you put your passion to your purpose, then you're gonna fight certain things. You know what I'm saying? It just comes with the nature of belief, right? Like you're gonna fight for better education for your kids. You're gonna fight for better food, you know what I'm saying, for your family. You're gonna fight for better opportunities to provide for your family. You're going to fight for better working circumstances depending on, where you work. You're going to fight for better light for your plants. Like people will fight for anything when it's really tied to something that they feel strongly about and believe in. So I definitely agree with you, Johnny, that's where action starts, right? Mm-hmm. Like being annoyed, you could just complaining to yourself or complaining in a pillow only just is only as good as far as it makes it. But when you start going outside and you start finding more people who feel the same way, or even people who don't feel the same way, you start learning, you start growing, you start changing, things start moving, and then that's when you actually effectively make change, right? Like we look at the snowball, right? You rode it at the top of the hill. you thought you was only doing a little bit, but that thing picked up that momentum, and before you know it, you got a big old snow boulder rolling down the hill because you picked up the momentum. You kept going. You took the first action, was creating the snowball. And a lot of people just complain now. I would challenge that we are in the most inept time in human history. Almost one of the most inept time where we are so brainwashed by everything that we won't take a lot of action on things that we care about. So it's really vital that we do move when you feel it. Like Johnny got pumped up, get pumped up. If something you pumped up about, go do it. I don't care what it is, because the moment that you start that, you'll find more people who will light that fire with you, who will keep stoking that fire with you. So yeah, put your passion where your purpose is, and it's gonna make things happen.
I have a phrase that says, passionate people produce panic. And in the context of this discussion, maybe we do need panic.
Yeah.
Right. Johnny, the passion of your voice almost suggests that there needs to be an alarm sounded, because there are some things that are happening that people aren't passionate enough about. So Mama had something to say about, I think it was, am I an angry Black woman or a woman who has the right to express her opinion?
You could be both, Mom.
Two things can be true at the same time. And I listen, I don't know the terminology, and let's just get it right.
Come on, CT. Sitting up in his chair. Let's get it right.
Let's just get it right. The Bible says you can be angry but sin not. So anger isn't a bad thing. You being angry is a gift that you've been given, because that means that there is something that is not working well. There is unrest. There's something that is wrong. And when something is wrong, if you don't have an opinion about it and make sure that you are maneuvering people to the thing that is true or right, then somebody might, who doesn't want to live in that truth, call you angry. And just because you Black, call you an angry Black woman. Well, those things are true. You might be angry, you might be Black, and you might be a woman, and you have an opinion. And I think it's important for us to remember that, like Johnny said, and I deeply honor what you said at the top, when one's voice can be heard, that is in the spirit of inclusion, when one's voice can be heard, then there is the opportunity for us to learn and be educated in a way that the thing that I maybe didn't know before, because I opened myself up to listen, even if somebody is expressing themselves in a passionate way, not an angry way, and even if it's an angry way, it may be coming out passionately. If I'm open to hear what their opinion is, maybe I'll learn something new. And that perspective gives me the ability to recognize that maybe I violated your rights because I thought I was right, but I didn't have the information that I needed so that I could make sure that I wasn't infringing upon your rights. Right? I could have said that like this. Maybe we could not infringe on the rights that you have or not have. Like, however you say it, the idea is I'm using my voice to make sure that I don't get lost in the sauce. And some of the things that we have to make sure we remember, especially at this time, is that you do have a voice, and that voice needs to be exercised. And so do your feet going to the local place and voting. I was trying to get it up. Let me get to it. And voting. Who cares? Who cares who you decide to vote for? We can have a spirited conversation and a debate about the whom, but that's not anybody else's business. And that is your right to do so. So in the spirit of where we're getting ready to head to, E, let me come to you, man. You know, we've got a week away from something that, as we said a couple of weeks ago, that some folks fought for the right to vote. So why is it so important, in your opinion, for people to exercise the right to vote?
Well, because namely, CT, because if somebody ever chooses to take specific types of whiskey and make them illegal, I feel like I should have the right to defend said types of whiskey and keep them legal. In any other things that I like in my life. I feel like the importance of me having the voice and the power to weigh in on a subject is the most pivotal thing that I can do, especially when it's about the collective. If I know that it's about everyone's feeling, if I sit in home and think to myself that other people are going to represent me, I would be wrong. So I know that it's on me to go out and represent those things that I am passionate about and vote on those things that matter to me. The things that don't matter to me, I still at least look at to see whether or not I should vote on them. That doesn't mean that I always do, but I at least went and I exercised the option to choose to vote every single time.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Johnny, how about you?
Before I answer that question, I wanted to kind of comment on something you said, CT. You said about that's being inclusive, right? Listening to someone else's voice because you may actually hear something and also or learn something. Sorry. You may actually learn something. And then imagine what that does for the other person to know that you are actually listening. You don't always have to agree, but you see me. And I think that's another reason why we have so much chaos, because so many of us feel like we have not been heard and that you don't see me. And MLK said that a riot is the language of the unheard. So it's so important that you are listening to and you see that person on the other side, because imagine what that does for them. It makes them feel included. It makes them feel like they belong. It makes them feel like they are part of this culture and this society and this the contract that we all have socially, that okay, we're all in this together now, right? So I think that's really important. And just when it comes to the exercising our right to vote, I've expressed this too in a couple of episodes ago. Just I know that there are people who are literally died for my right to vote.
Yeah.
And so there's no way I can stay at home. There's no way. And even when I was younger, this is probably the most passionate I've been about an election. And even when I was younger, I just did it because I knew it was the right. I thought about my ancestors. I thought about the people who fought for me to be here, and I just had to do it. I had to do it. There was no way I could disappoint them because I chose to stay at home. So voting is really important to me because of who fought for me to have this opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, our leader in the organization that I work for said something in a session, and then I reposted it on my LinkedIn page, and it aligns to something you just said, Johnny, and I want to amplify it here. It was leaders who lead with love understand how to lead the seen, the unseen, and the reseen.
Yes.
The seen,
That's good.
the unseen, and the reseen. And if we want to continue to recognize that this thing that we've been gifted, this thing called voting, does give the ability to amplify who the seen are, who the unseen are, and who the reseen need to be. Because when you go to the polls, whether it is federal, whether it is local, doesn't matter. You're now giving life to your voice being able to speak to the seen, the unseen, and the reseen, because in every one of those situations, every one of those people is represented. And
Beautiful.
whether or not when you go to the polls, you feel like you are being seen based upon what's on the polls, or you feel like you have been unseen based upon who is running in a particular seat, or you feel like you need to be reseen because this is maybe is a renewed time for you, however or whatever seat you sit in, this is an expression of you loving that there is a place where you have the right to do a thing that not everybody had the right to do. And not every country has the same freedoms that we have. And so if there was something I would say, if you were going to love yourself in this country that we've been given, I would say whether you are seen, unseen, or reseen, that you exercise that right so that whatever scene you are making sure that you are representing yourself in that. So
That's why you're CT. That
E,
is fine.
I'm gonna pass it back to you.
Wait, can I say something before you do?
Yeah. Well, hold up. Yeah. Go ahead. Just keep it. So I'm just like, go ahead, Johnny.
We don't want to hear what you gotta say. We don't want to hear your voice. We tired of it. You talk too much anyway. Well, I just wanted to say, because I saw Michael's comment, if you don't vote, are we all in this together? I just wanted to share my personal opinion that as a Christian, my stance is to love, right? Like that is what I'm here to do. I'm supposed to love, and love is a verb. And so when I am voting, I feel like I am voting for all of us. And I do believe that we are all in this together. And I just felt compelled to say that. So if you don't vote, are we all in this together? Yes, we still are. Even if I don't agree with that particular stance of choosing not to, I may not agree, but me not agreeing does not mean that I don't love you and that I am not standing here right beside you and right here with you. So absolutely, I believe that. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, and that's a great question though. Like, and I mean, I agree with you, Johnny, too. Like, sometimes there's those people who don't understand, and you are voting on behalf of them because they may not even understand the necessity of it. So I get it. Sometimes you got to champion the cause for those people who don't understand the cause until the cause moves them. Yeah. So thank you, CT. Thank you, Johnny, for a wonderful conversation. Definitely just wrapping up rights. I mean, rights. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to my girl Portia. Where we used to be like right. So right. We are done with the rights. But that does lead me into wanting to understand what Grandma would be talking about rights and yes, because
come on,
Grandma do here to get people prepared for exercising their rights.
Thank you, E, for asking the question. Grandma would tell you in season 3, what are you supposed to do? Sit up in your chair and listen up. So Grandma recognizes that this is a significant and important topic, and she would say that CT said something a little bit about this earlier, and the word that Grandma wants to amplify tonight is the word learn. Learn. When you think about the importance and the value of this time, what is it that you have to learn? Well, Grandma would say first, you must look. Thank you, CT, because my opinion was okay. You not Grandma's pausing for a second. He's moving from grandma to CT. You not mean. You just may come across as mean to some people, and just because they might think you mean doesn't mean you're mean.
Come on.
I was going to make an acronym out of mean, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to move back to Grandma. Back to learn. Back to our regular.
You felt it. You felt it, though.
Oh, I felt my shine now right there. So Grandma would say, in the context of learn, what is you supposed to do most specifically related to you voting? Grandma would say, you've got to look for the things that you don't know. If you're not looking for the things you don't know around voting, how are you going to know what to vote for? You got to look for the issues. You got to look for the polling place. You got to look, like, if you don't know where all your stuff, you had to earlier look to make sure you were registered, because if you weren't registered, you won't be a vote anyway. So you got to open your eyes and look for what it is that you need to know, because if you don't look, then you can't do the E right. You can't have an experience. I know I went to vote. That's your E. I went to vote after work last week. And the experience that I had was on my way there, I prayed. I was like, God, just let me make sure I have a clear mind. And when I go in, let it be my decision based upon what I know I understand, because I looked for the different opportunities that were in front of me. I looked at all the candidates. I looked at what their issues were. I looked at how they have chosen to do what they did. And so my experience was really easy. The only thing in my experience was I had to stand in line for about 10 minutes. That was easy. And so when I think about this time, I've got to look for the right kind of opportunities, and I've got to be able to know that there's an experience that I want to have. And if I don't know something, the A says I got to ask some questions. People perish for the lack of knowledge. And I would say that they perish for lack of asking questions. You don't know something because you didn't ask. And the Bible would say, asking you shall receive, seeking you shall find, knocking the door shall be open. So if we ask the right questions, it can enhance what experience that I have because I've looked in the right kind of places. And then somebody would say, but Chris, I looked. Well, the R is revisit the place, revisit the concept, revisit the principle, revisit so that you know that the thing that you are looking for so you can have your experience enhanced allows you to make sure you're asking the right kind of questions. Sometimes we look one time. It's almost like being in a corporate organization. You did something one time, you checked the box of compliance, and you called it done. It doesn't mean that it's done. Sometimes you got to revisit that thing so that you know that whatever it is you're about to decide, you have confidence in the thing that you're about to decide. And then the last and learn requires that maybe you've got to do at the end. Now you got to navigate a little bit. If I got to revisit a thing, maybe the places that I've gone don't have the information that I truly need because it's only one-sided. So you have to navigate to a place, to a side, to a situation, to a person, to an issue, to a topic that you don't know. And when you revisit it, because you ask questions in that new visit, your experience now changes because you decided to look for something new. Grandma says in this season and time, if you have or you have not voted yet, you need to learn how to make sure that when you are so that you can be seen, reseen, unseen, and reseen, you got to look, you got to experience, you got to ask, you got to visit, you got to navigate. And when you do that, we all gonna be all right.
We gonna be all right.
Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Grandma.
All right, Grandma, taking all the way there. You live and you learn. And you know what I did learn while I was sitting there listening to that? It made me really thirsty to know what Johnny, what you got?
I like that build up. That was good. That was really good. Y'all, I wanted to jump out of my seats. I felt like CT saw my notes. Ooh. When he talked about learn and asking questions, because I thought about, I know y'all have heard of it, the herd or sheep mentality. Where people have the tendency to conform to the beliefs, and I'm reading it verbatim so that I'll say it right, to the beliefs and behaviors of their group rather than acting independently. And right now, I think it's just our culture. I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be this political climate that we're in, just period. Like if you see one post, you see somebody else say the same exact thing, and you see someone else say the same exact thing on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And it feels as if sometimes that people aren't critically thinking, that they don't have their own opinion, that they aren't taking time to have their own experience, ask questions, revisit the thing, navigate the situation a little bit, right? That we're not doing that. And so I just, in the spirit of motivation, I am hoping that people just take the time out to do your own research, think for yourself, take a look at the issues, review, like think about where you are financially, where you live, the space you're in, the people around you, all of that. Think critically for yourself and don't get caught up in the whole herd mentality and just going along with the group. It's so important now more than ever, and it goes beyond just this political season that we're in, especially in a time of AI and all these other things. Y'all, we have to be able to think for ourselves. Let's not lose that skill along the way. So I'm just encouraging everyone, please take time, do your research, read upon issues, read about your local issues, and go to these polls well informed after doing your own research and coming to your conclusion based on your values and not just what you heard someone else say.
It's good gems.
Yeah, definitely good gems. I am opposed to the herd mentality. Chaos is not a conformer.
We know all. You are.
Not even a little bit. So with that, Johnny always got gems. Grandma always got bars. And I need to let y'all know that the AOC today is not going to tell you about what's wrong.
Oh.
I've done that all month. I've told you, I've looked you in the face and told you what you was wrong about. But well, you know what? Let me take it back. I'm going to tell you what you was wrong about. You was wrong about understanding what vote actually meant. A lot of y'all don't realize it, but when you go out and vote, put your voice on topic for everyone to see. You voice it. You go and do it. You go, this is me. I feel this way about it. Put my voice on it. Wow. Everybody can see it. Tap in. All right. You see me? Look, I'm doing it physically so you can see. Tap in. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to hit it.
Spotify.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I know on Spotify you can't see my hand. I'm flailing it at the screen. Okay, just so you know, like it's very easy for people to misunderstand that when you do vote, you're putting a voice on something. Whatever the topic is, you're going. I want everybody to know this is how I feel.
Yeah,
because you're willing to go out there and do that thing, right? You're willing to stand in that 10-minute line, like CT said, or longer, however long it is. Mm-hmm. You're willing to put in those early absentee ballots. You're willing to put in there so your voice is on the thing.
Yeah.
So make sure that this year, every year, you get to put your voice on the thing. Now, the fun thing is my son is 18 this year. He gets to vote for the first time. Now, it makes me think back to when he was about 8 years old. I think it's roughly about 8 years old. When President Obama was running again against Mitt Romney. And this goofball made a whole video about the importance of voting and going out there saying, guys, get out there and vote, blah, 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 blah. And this Mitt Romney guy, I will never forget hearing this little Mitt Romney guy. I was like, this kid is going to be amazing. He's going out and vote. And if my 18-year-old is about to outvote y'all, I just want you to know that his voice matters and your voice does too. So that's the message from your AOC. Put your voice on the thing, okay? Get out there and vote. I'm going to go ahead and come to everybody for final thoughts so we can wrap up today's episode. It's been wonderful being live. If there's any questions before we sign off from anybody out there in EMM land that is tuning in with us live in the chat, whatever you got to say, if there's a special shout out you want to do, again, shout out to Amanda. Happy birthday for you Sunday. We was getting our toes done, you know what I'm saying? Like she had the pearl white toes, you know what I'm saying? Like baby got like some like purple stuff, and you know what I got? I got clear.
Of course.
Yes, she did.
I got translucent. I got transparent. That's what I got. That's what I picked. I literally be like, give me the cheapest nail color you got for men. It was like none. I was like, then put that on.
I love it.
So Johnny, I'm coming to you with your final thoughts.
This has been such a great month. I really like this month. I listen to Brene Brown. Probably a couple of us do here. Listen to Brene Brown some way or another. And she calls her podcast the Pause Cast because when someone poses a question or a thought, it's a long pause on the podcast because she wants to really think about it and digest what the person is saying. And oftentimes it's like that in this podcast as well. But in particular, this month has made me do that. There's been some things that you've thrown at me, CT, that I've been really like, I don't know. I ain't got an answer for that right now. But I think that's great. Yeah. I think that's great because you're making me think and really go deep on it. And I hope I can continue to think about this whole idea of exercising our rights and what does that really mean and what does it look like and how do I show up in the world? So I appreciate this conversation a lot.
Beautiful. CT, coming to you.
Listen, always honored to be in the space with you all, and especially when we have meaningful conversation and topics that really do help us grow, and with the design that it's going to motivate others. And I just can't leave this pod without speaking to Mama, because she said, because my opinion was always labeled mean, I would like to give you a label for mean. I just couldn't, in my head, I couldn't get rid of it. So what next time they call you mean, remember that mean is meaningful. That's what the thing is coming from you. You are thinking the way that you are because what you're saying is meaningful. You are enthusiastic because how it's coming out of you has a little bit of energy on it. A is for authentic because that is purposefully you coming out of that conversation. And the N is never lose your voice. So when you think about being mean, I need you to remember that acronym so that when somebody calls you mean again, just say thank you. That's my final thoughts.
Oh.
All right. I love it. I mean too. Good job, Mama. Keep being mean. We mean together. That's right. We birds of a feather. We be mean out here. Mm-hmm. And we be meaning what we say too. You know? Right.
Right.
Right. Yes. But Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what it is. You can like, subscribe, follow, share. Make sure that you give us the 5 stars on the Apple stuff because, we're trying to get up there in the algorithm. If you are watching, if you are ghost watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Let's make sure that we get our viewership up as we continue to try to excel into next month. I'm very excited about next month, guys, because it's my month. And it's the month about food. We about to talk about feeding ourselves, like in every way. There's gonna be metaphysical food out here for you. There's actually gonna be physical food out here for you. We got emotional food for you. We got brain food for you. We're gonna feel your bodies. Your gullet is gonna be so stuffed by the end of November. You're gonna actually get to Thanksgiving and be like, I want nothing to eat. EMM done filled me all the way up. I ain't got no more space. I'm motivated. Okay. That's what we coming to do. All right. So with that, again, you can follow us everywhere. We do our thing. We love you guys so much. But until the next time, you guys know what you can do. You can just chill until the next episode. Peace. Have a good one, guys. Good night.
Peace. Love y'all.
Peace.
Go vote.
Hey, go vote. Go.